Well, they say only two things are certain. That would be death and taxes. So let's talk about the taxes, will we? So how do you make sure that you get every single penny that you deserve? Cambi Brown is live with the CPA to make sure we get those answers this morning. Cambi, you've been answering some of the viewer questions this morning, haven't you?
Well, not me, but CPA Rex Phinney has been taking care of that. We have some more questions on our Facebook page, Eyewitness News Bakersfield Now. And Christina is asking, in July, my 18-year-old joined the service. I claimed him as a dependent on my taxes for 2010. How do we file his tax return now without causing a conflict? What do we file as his status?
His status is going to be single or married, depending on whether or not he's single or married. The key to avoiding the conflict is that if you claim the child as a dependent, you've already used up what's called their personal exemption. And so the key is that they can still file their separate tax return, but you want to make sure that when you do file that, they're not claiming that exemption for themselves again, because each individual, each Social Security number only gets one exemption, and if you claim that child as a dependent, essentially what you've done is you've used up their exemption, and so now when they file, they cannot use that exemption.
So when their son files, he needs to make sure that he lets them know that he has already been claimed as a dependent. Now, Vanessa is asking, is it likely an accountant will get you a bigger refund than TurboTax would? And I always use TurboTax, so I'm curious about that.
I know we've been talking all morning about how you're using TurboTax. You know, it kind of depends on the situation. A lot of times there might be deductions out there that a taxpayer might not think about if they were left on their own or they were left with TurboTax. So a lot of times we field phone calls from people that maybe their neighbor told them that something was deductible and they're just not sure. So maybe they want to consult an accountant about that. So there is a lot of instances where an accountant will find additional deductions for somebody that maybe a software or online service wouldn't give them.
Okay, and I believe we have another question too. Let me just find this really quick. Let's see. Is maternity leave, oh, we have several ones. Is maternity leave taxable or not? That's what Vicky's asking.
Maternity leave, that's an it depends kind of question. It depends on the situation. You really want to get together with a tax professional, bring in the paperwork. Let's see, was this maternity leave provided by the state, provided by the employer? Some different scenarios there.
Hey, Sarah, we have one last question from Nick and Whitney. Do we have time to get to that? All right, can I file my wife as a dependent if she was disabled and had to be cared for by another person while I supported our family all year?
That's going to come down to how much of the financial support that they provided. So they're going to need to consult with their tax professional, bring in the paperwork. If they provided a significant amount of the financial resources that were necessary, again, it's hard to say not knowing exactly where the wife was, where was she cared for, these types of things. But it's very possible that she could claim that person as a dependent.
Okay, Rex, thank you for answering all our questions this morning. Hey, also, Rex told me that right now, if you're thinking about filing your taxes, that usually means you're going to be getting money back. And the people who wait till the last minute, well, they need to get out the Kleenex. They're usually the ones that have to pay. John, Layla?
All right, so there you go. File ASAP. Cambi Brown and Rex, thank you very much this morning.